What's the best and worst things about taking a Tesla on an 1800-mile driving holiday down to the Dordogne? It wasn't exactly all plain sailing. Bike paddle, what the fuck? Ow! We had some trouble with the chargers. Old friend. A bit more trouble on the tunnel. Not all the accommodation was up to scratch, but let's get started with where it all went wrong. Never ever travel in the UK on a Friday night, everybody knows that. So after 2.5 hours, instead of eating a Chinese in Canterbury, we're eating chicken nuggets in Grantham. Anyway, the traffic did ease up and we whizzed past this guy driving this awful coloured Ferrari. Can you see who it is? The only blessing on the trip down was that all the shops were shut by the time we got to Canterbury, something my missus was delighted about. Fortunately, this apartment had 2 bedrooms, so we didn't have to face each other for the rest of the night. We'll put a link in the blog post. Following morning at the tunnel, there's plenty of spare chargers, so we just plugged the car in and head indoors for a coffee. Piece of cake, or rather caramel biscuits I think these were. I did pick up the wrong coffee in Starbucks, but I couldn't be bothered to take it back. Sorry, Fred. Now here's a bit for Tesla Model Y owners specifically. Never ever load your car on anything other than the single deck train. Remember that for the end of the video. Now kids can sometimes get bored travelling, but not in a Tesla. It's got a sophisticated in-car entertainment system.
Mummy! No!
Now one of the good things about running the Tesla on the train is we never had to turn the aircon off the whole way there, so we arrive in France freezing cold. And all French roads are about 1,000,000% better than the UK ones. Mainly perhaps because you have to pay per mile, but hey ho. Although you might notice that we pass straight through without stopping, taking a ticket or paying. Because as everybody knows, EV drivers don't pay for road tax or even tolls. Now this is a lie, but EV haters will have already stopped watching by this point. Now here's a win. Not only are there loads of Tesla superchargers, but there's a fantastic Chinese buffet restaurant right next door. And that's not even the best part, because in this restaurant, kids eat their age. And who would have thought that our very tall for his age 3-year-old would love seafood?
God, meat fish and lobster. No prawns.
Yes, that is a full crab. Are you full nearly now? You're nearly full? After his 4th plate and a dessert, we eventually got thrown out. We then headed into our first night's stay in France, Le Mans, where we discovered there wasn't a single car park within 2 miles of our accommodation. And now, thanks to Eurocamps, this was the only dead time on the entire trip, 20 minutes charging at this supercharger just before we got to the campsite. Now, for those of you who don't know what Eurocamps are, just imagine centre parks for people that haven't won the lottery. And if you've never heard of centre parks, it's like British Disney with none of the attractions, and it costs a lot more. The good thing about Eurocamps is you can park your car right at the side of your chalet, but you can't plug it in. Definitely not through the window either, otherwise you might just get thrown off site, I was told. Anyway, the following day we head off into the Dordogne to explore some of the beautiful villages. And much to our surprise, we find that there's lots of little destination chargers everywhere we go. And these work completely and totally don't work at all. They're absolutely shit. Now, instead of the car getting a little charge while we eat a light lunch, I'm furiously complaining to the charging companies. We did just try the odd one or two, just in case it happened to be us. 12, I think, in total. But no, not a single fucking one worked. The company never answered the phone, they never answered an email. And this particular one was broken before I kicked it, just for the record. And if anybody happens to be watching that works for this company, you're a bunch of twats. This supermarket car park, there were 2 great fast chargers anyway. Now, for those interested in visiting the Dordogne, my wife's going to do a more interesting blog post highlighting all the places that we visited, where we stayed, how to steer a canoe, and where to see a beaver. Now, one day I'm sure that the charging infrastructure down here will be not quite so torturous, not quite so painful. They do keep promising some improvements to it, hence why there's all those new chargers, but I sense a bit of bullshit. I don't think anybody's maintaining them. But we didn't let that spoil our holiday, and we'd definitely take the Tesla down here again. Oh, do you remember what we said about not loading the Tesla on the upper deck? Well, this is why. Yes, that was a metal curb. And no, I couldn't drive it down the whole tunnel with an inch of clearance at either side. I honestly wasn't capable. First alloys I've curbed in 10 years. Bit sickening, to be fair. The good news is that the tunnel had admitted liability, as they loaded us on the wrong deck. Just today they asked us to send the bill to be paid. If you head over to our website, evbuyer.online, you'll find a full itinerary of our trip down to the Dordogne in the Tesla. Given that we buy performance and prestige cars for a living, you'll find our EV blogs that bit more honest. And if you're still watching, please give us a like and follow. Thank you.